Okay, hopefully I'm live. It's hard to tell these days. While I wait for somebody to show up. I thought I'd redo the 244, which was how to not give in to despair. Oh, 6 of you. Just let me know if you've got delays, if you can hear me okay. Because I don't want a repeat of the last one, which was kind of not going anywhere. And I spoke for about 20 minutes, but it's live. Thank you, Rakir. So yeah, quite a lot of stuff has happened. Haven't been on here for a couple of weeks or more, and that's basically because everything that could go wrong has gone wrong. So we had some storms, some pretty heavy storms. Thank you, Rakir. I appreciate that. And they washed away part of the drive. Hello, Carlos. And Scene 11. Perfect. Thank you, guys. So, yeah, it washed out part of the drive, so I had to backstabber. I like him. Oh, LS16, most loyal attendant. So, yeah, I had to redo part of the drive with concrete, and then we had to park the cars up because obviously concrete takes about a week to go off properly. And various other things. We've been a bit sick, mostly because what tends to happen is, we go out, meet normal shedders, and then we fight off whatever the crap they've been shedding. So that's not been the best fun. But the main thing was, of course, that the internet was completely throttled. And, it was really odd because, like, the kids, when they were watching one of their little programs, that was fine. But, if after we put them to bed and all, we tried to see a movie or anything, it was all blocky. Even that didn't work. Even the upload was just 0. And turned out, which is what I thought was happening, was the 4G guys were throttling it. So changed provider, and it's working again. But we had the wizard, like we have the wizard, we have the scout, we have the kind of cleric, I guess. The wizard came down, and he was down here for 2 days, and he sorted a whole bunch of stuff, including things that I'd pretty much given up on sorting out. So he tested everything, and he came to the conclusion that, look, the only thing left to do is, change the SIM cards, which I did. Roughly 5 meters up into the sky on a wet roof with lightning threatening to fry my ass at any minute. But yeah, it went well. And yeah, there's a whole bunch of other things, like so I'd waterproofed all the sheds and everything on these big storms we had. One of the bathrooms was just leaking all over the place, and one of the it's like a storage room, also had leakage in it, which was coming on top of the boiler, which was no good. And the sheds just was like waterfalls in there. So, when I had a sunny day, I managed to get up on the roof, and the toilet was totally fixed. And that's the one I did the least to. The storage room, it was a bit of leakage coming in from like pipes that are going up, the boiler pipes and that. And I did it once, sealed one of them off properly. The other one still had a tiny leak, went up again, and then it still looked like it might have had a leak. But now, when I just checked it now, it was dry. So I don't know, maybe it just took a while for the stuff to set. Then I went on top of the sheds, and the wood is warped on one of them, so that one of the slats has kind of popped. And I've got skylights in there. And that's the one that I built myself, but I've got some waterproofing stuff left over from the trash that the so-called bio guy left, the hippie left. So I'm going to use that. I bought a bunch of little screws. I'm going to nail it all down and then cover it with pitch, which is what I did on the other roof, and seems to work pretty well. So that's been the exciting stuff for the Kurgan household. I'm thinking when, the, is it Morbug, whatever, that hemorrhaging disease that they've got like thousands of, probably millions of vaccines for, that in the last 20 years only 400 people have died of. When that stuff hits, I'm just going to close the gates of the Kurganate, and that's it. No one gets in. Just stay out there, shed your shit out there until all the zombies have just become full-on zombies, and you can hunt them down. It'll be legal then because there will be no law. Hello, slanty-eyed chauffeur bear. Provider wars. Yeah. So yeah, it's been a tough time, and this is advice that I give to people in my own family, because it's just me and the boy. The rest are all women. So it's it's really simple. It's a simple rule. When things get hard, shit gets tough. Hello, Caleb, and thanks for your email, by the way. We'll be in touch. So there's only one rule. When things get difficult, do more. When you can't do more, do more. When you're finished, depressed, all alone, and everyone is against you, do more. That's it. You just keep doing that, eventually you win. Or you die trying, which is an honorable way to die. I have no idea why human beings don't get this, and it's the reason why I pretty much dislike humanity as a whole. On the whole, it's like they're all weak, fragile, cowardly little fuckers who cannot handle reality. So what happens is they dodge reality, they lie about reality, they get depressed about reality, they don't deal with reality, they try to avoid reality. And it's all just one long, gigantic circle jerk of wasted time, wasted life, wasted energy, wasted love, wasted good things, wasted everything. That one of the Russian guys used to train is like, look, the things that you've got to do them with joy. Because if you don't, you got to do them anyway. And the only difference is you'll be doing them unhappy. And, it's simple logic. It's not genius level stuff. But so few people do it. It's just tragic. We got even the down voter. I guess he was hoping I was down and out. I'm not. And I'm never gonna be. That fake ass documentary that was done, the Highlander, just besmirched my name. So yeah, that's my whole advice on not giving in to despair. All you gotta do is keep going. You get knocked down, get up. You get knocked down again, get up. You get knocked down again, get up. That's all it is. It's a mental thing. But it's very simple advice. It's not like there's not a magic formula. It's like, oh, but my leg is broken. Yeah, sure is. Oh, but it hurts. Yeah, it does. Now get up and fight. And if you can only hop on one leg, hop on one leg. Oh, but I'm scared. Everybody is. Get up and fight. I don't know how to say it more simply than that. And the other thing is, don't ever, people say, oh, don't ever ascribe to evil what stupidity can answer for. No, it's the other way around. Don't ever assume somebody's stupid when they could just be evil. Selfish, evil bastards. Do not assume stupidity. You're going to be better off in life if you assume evil. Now, sometimes it is just stupidity. Quite often it can be just stupidity. But here's the thing. Is it? Because if you have a loaded 45 to their head, and you're like, oh, by the way, just letting you know, as soon as you do a stupid thing, you're going to get shot. And they're like, well, but boom, you blow away the guy next to them who did some stupid shit. You're like, oh, yeah, still got a bunch of guns, bunch of ammo in here. Yeah, you're next if you do a stupid shit. Just carry on. You just live your life around me. Do what you need to do, Just do your job. Guess what? Everybody's IQ points jump up 50 points. They all do their job. No one bitches and moans. They all smiles. Oh, I'm really happy. Thanks for the opportunity. Guess why? Because otherwise they get shot in the face. So, is it really stupidity? No. It's a sin. It's laziness, selfishness, and evil. It's evil. Or, oh, hello, Amanda. Or, as this is Hail Mary, full of grace indeed. This is, for those who don't get it, it's going to sound like a really racist joke. But anybody can be black. That's the real underlying concept of this thing. And this is a real story. So I was at the house of this guy. I was a Dutchman, a pretty decent Dutchman as far as Dutchmen go, in South Africa. And this friend of mine that I've known for many years, a bit naive, English, sort of like, and, he'd lived in Africa like I have most of his life. And we were sort of at this guy's place. And he says, the thing about Africa is if you could just find a way to motivate black people, because they're kind of lazy, but they can work and they can. If you could just find something to motivate them, this whole continent could be a gold mine for them, for us. It would be great if you could just find a way to motivate them. And the Dutchman, without blinking an eyelid, goes, there it is. We discovered that shit 100 years ago. And he pointed to the corner where he had a sjambok. Now, for those of you who don't know, the traditional sjambok is made from the tendon that is in a donkey's dick, because they got really long dicks. And so you get like 1.5 meters kind of twisted up, hard, sun-dried leather that just slaps the crap out of you and marks your ass. So kind of like you just got to whip them. But the thing is that, after about roughly some 40 plus years in martial arts, because I've been doing that since I was a little kid, you realize that people are just not as stupid as you think, but they are a lot lazier, meaner, selfisher, weaker, cowardly, all of the above. A few kicks in the ass, they all get smarter. It dislodges the brain from the rectum all the way up the spinal column to the cranial space where it should be in the first place. Jordan is trying to get me banned, I guess. Whatever. So that's my advice for not giving in to depression and despair and, oh, everybody's against me. Look, pretty much everybody I know has taken the clutch shot, including my own father, which is fucking retarded. Although he took the Chinese one, which apparently I think is saline, so he might be alright. And the reason he took it in typical boomer fashion is like, well, the Chinese government gave it for free and the Chinese people here all took it and they're sending money back home, so it doesn't make any sense for them to get killed off. I'm like, Dad, it's China. Your grandfather, blew away a lot of those bug people because of the war, and he basically said they're bug people. There's one guy with a rifle in the front of the queue, and there's like a line of them, like ants coming down the hill. And when the guy in the front with the rifle gets killed, the next guy picks up the rifle and carries on. That's what they're like. They'll kill 10 million of their people without blinking an eye just because they think, oh, well, China must progress. That's what they do. But, boomers. And really, why would you take some kind of weird clutch shot anyways? Fear of death. So you take something that kills you because you're scared to die. It's just retarded. But what are you going to do? I just said, Dad, try not to take another one. That's it. That was the sum of my comments, because what the fuck are you going to say? And yeah, the kids are all fine. And my shield is disgusted. Thank you for this message. I needed to hear it. Yeah, but the thing is, you know, it's like training, okay? When you're doing like hard karate stuff, which is a lot of repetition, a lot, and you know, there's fighting, there's sparring, there's whatever. And in the hard classes, if you slack off, you pay for it when you get to the fighting part, right? They put more guys in front of you to beat your ass. But the thing is that when you're going, and you're like in a little group, and you're all doing the same movement, and it's like, ich, ni, sanji, go, ich, ni, sanji, go, and you're doing the thing, there's going to end up being a guy who leads the group. Now, that guy who leads the group, it's not because he's the old, you know, he's just got more energy. He's just going like, fuck it, we're not going to go down. And everybody starts to automatically, instinctively, like just connect to him, and they all start to move in the same thing. And I noticed this with the instructors originally, and then I thought, okay, cool. But then I decided, like, no, I'm not just going to sit in this guy's draft line. You know, like cars, when you like racing cars and you get a car that gets behind you, it's like you breaking the wind for him, so it's easier for him, and then he can quickly overtake. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to just sit here and, like, you know, use up his energy, sort of thing. I'm going to try and get up to the front and do that. And then you're doing it. But the amazing thing is that when you get into that sync, the guy who's leading, his energy doesn't get dragged down unless there's some lazy fucker somewhere who's just like dragging the whole group down. And one guy can drag the whole group down. Now, if that one guy is psychologically or mentally or spiritually, I don't know what it is. I don't know how to define it. But if he is like more intense in his depression, he can drag down the whole group. Now, in martial arts, that doesn't happen really, because if it's a proper martial art, you get your ass kicked enough that the guy who's leading, he's leading. That guy doesn't get depressed. That guy's mind is like a fucking steel punch. So he's not going to let some little weak-ass dude drag him down. In fact, he's going to get everybody else to energize, and everybody else is going to be looking at that like weak-ass dude like, dude, you got to move now. And he will, because he'll feel it. It's like, oh, fuck, I'm the problem. And he knows what's going to happen to him afterwards if he keeps being the problem. It's a very salutary experience. But the thing is, if you're the guy leading, which, you know, after a while I was often, you actually get energized. Your men, your guys, the people that are following you, that are going by your timing, it's like, it's a mutually feeding system. It's like you're giving them energy to do the thing in the correct order, in the correct way, in the correct rhythm, and they give you energy by supporting you by doing it. It's almost like there's a leader and there's cheerleaders, but it's like, I don't know how to explain it, but anybody that's been in like a war situation, in serious situations or hardcore martial arts, will know what I'm talking about. And this applies in the world. You know, so it's like whoever's got the more constant thing. Now, the problem that's in the world, in the living world, you don't want to always be like, because that's just going to burn you out. But there are people that are constantly in a negative state, that are just like, oh, everything is bad. Oh, everything is terrible. Oh, everything. Now, those people, if you were allowed to do it, would not be in that state if you could just kick their ass. Literally, I'm not talking figuratively, literally give them a kick in the ass. Every time they, never mind what to say, never mind what to do. When you just sense that they're like, bang. And in martial arts, you can do that. And it's paradise. No laziness, no idiots. They just get their ass kicked and they wake up. All of a sudden, they wake up. Now, this works with everybody. I don't give a shit who you are. It works. It works with animals. It works with chickens. So yeah, it's kind of like violence is the answer, I guess. I don't know. But, you know, that's the point. Now, if you understand this, and if you understand this, then you understand you watching this. You have got to be that guy leading the charge. You, not somebody else. Can't wait for someone else to show you the way. You got to be that guy. But I don't know. I didn't have a dad. And nobody taught me. It doesn't fucking matter. You have got to be that guy. Whatever strengths you got, great. Whatever weaknesses you got, tough shit. Get up and be that guy. Because guess what? If you're in Australia and they're now going to come and inject your ass, no one's going to come and help you. No one's going to come and do anything. You need to do it. You need to be the guy that gets all the other neighbors to go, hey, look at him. He's resisting. We can help. You got to be that guy. And guess what? If you've got 10 of you, if it's not just you, if you just be you do your thing, and another 10 guys do their thing, they're going to start off 1,000,000 guys doing their thing. So you have got to be that guy. No excuses, no dodging, no nothing. Right, let's see. My boomer parents did too. They wanted to be able to go to the pub, and see their grandchild. Yeah. Retarded. Look, my most, loyal henchmen or whatever, their parents, brothers, sisters, they're pretty much their entire families. My brother hasn't and isn't going to. My brother is quite often sometimes a retard, but in that respect, at least he's all right. And again, like most of I don't know a single sediprivationist that has taken the clot shot or that is going to take the clot shot. But their immediate family that are not sedis, most of them have. A lot of them have. That's not to say that the majority has. They haven't. I went to speak to a serious gun dude. That guy's a millionaire. He's got like a massive gun shop with he's got he's got 2 floors of and they're huge and they're filled with equipment. And you go into the downstairs bit and it's filled with glass cases of really expensive handguns, expensive rifles, not cheap shit. And there's hundreds of them. And then I thought, wow, this is big. And then he said, no, come here in the back room. Went in the back room, which is another huge security door. And you go in there and it's like wall-to-wall rifles, guns all over the place. That's just full. And it's a gigantic room. It's not it's bigger than my house a few times over. And then they've got their own private range inside there where they set their rifles and stuff. It's like a massive place. And and I saw in his shop, he doesn't wear a mask. And there's a couple of people wearing a mask, but I'm he's the owner, he's not wearing a mask. Fuck it, I'm not wearing mine. So I go downstairs, he tells me, no, come down, I'll show you some stuff. And then I said, yeah, we left England because they want to inject kids and shit. And he looks at me just stunned, turned, looked at me. So you're not getting the vax? I'm like, fuck no, I'm not getting the vax. Thank God. He shakes my hand. He was like, yeah. And I said, yeah, there's only a few of us left. I meant with a brain. And he goes, no. We're not a minority. We're a majority. We just keep fighting these fuckers. Fuck them. And that's a guy, and he's in his 70s. That's a guy who's not bending to anything. He's like, fuck you. I'm going to be that leader. And he's done very, very well for himself. So, it pays off. It's, that's all I can say. You're either leading. If you're following, you don't really count. Because if you're not leading, if you're not being the guy that's marked down in history as the X guy, whether you're marked down in history or not is irrelevant. It doesn't matter. I couldn't care less whether people remember my name. My kids will know who I was. That's important. That's it. But if you're not that guy and you're following, you don't count. Because if there's nobody to follow, when it's easy and comfortable and, maybe it's a bit risky, but at least he's leading, you're a nobody. You're not there. If that guy doesn't exist, you're not there. Be that guy. That's why I keep saying, the Kurganet, I don't want people that are just random followers. I have them. There are people that are like that, and that's fine. That's okay. But if you're one of those guys that follows, do not even bother to think that you can question anything or that your opinion matters at all. In the Kurganet, there is no bullshit. There is no lies. There is no white lies. There's no pretending to protect your fragile ego. If you're a follower, and you do what you're told. When you're told, you don't ask questions. You just do what you're told because you're a follower. End of. If you are one of the immortals, I don't have to tell you what to do. You know what to do. You anticipate what needs doing and you do it without anybody having to tell you a damn thing. That's what I want. Like I said, the 300 of Leonidas. And well, okay, there's a bit of Amanda is just spamming the channel with pine needles tea, blah blah blah. Vitamin can help detox. Intermittent fasting. Yeah. We all know. I don't fall into despair because I learned how to spot an idiot. Okay. Thomas Aquinas, sorrow can be alleviated by good sleep. A sorrow can be alleviated by good sleep, a bath, and a glass of wine. Well, I don't know. I haven't had a good sleep in about 25 years, so I don't know. Yeah. I retain my pure blood, says Carlos Santos Ramos. Good. Yeah. But that's the thing, you see, so they're all going on about the COVID shots and there's the green pass, all that shit. But if you had COVID and you can show that you've got the antibodies, yeah, that doesn't count. Oh no, you have to have been diagnosed with COVID here and now and then you have to have recovered and you've done the 2 weeks in quarantine. No, fuck you. If I've got the antibodies, I don't need to do any of that shit. But no, that doesn't count. Fuck off. And like I put on Vox put up a brilliant post, which was actually a quote from Bruce Charlton, but he gave it a really good title. He called it "Programming is not communication." And Bruce Charlton's point was that you should never you completely ignore everything that the government, everything that the mass media, everything that the elites say, everything, because they use communication as a tool to get you to do what they want. They don't care at all about having a conversation. So you think you're having a conversation and they're like, yeah, sure. You can just bend over. Yeah, no, this is not lube. This is just a bit of Vaseline. Yeah, it protects the anus. That's what it. And then before you know it, you're screwed. Just ignore everything that they say. Absolutely. And that's why, a lot of people think, oh, well, that's why I got named the Kurgan, right? Because, oh, you're too harsh. You don't give people a chance. No, it's not about that. It's I am not going to give some lying, sneaky, rhetorical fuckface the opportunity to keep bullshitting in public. I don't care if he tries to bullshit me because it's not going to go very far. But, when they sort of say, well, everybody has their own truth. I don't let that go by. Some idiot near me says, everybody has their own truth. My immediate reaction is like, really? But you believe in walls, right? Don't tell me you don't believe in walls, otherwise I'll grab your face and smash it into the wall. Oh, that's objective truth then. Well, guess you're wrong then, huh? It's not relative. It's fact. And that applies to everything. And you're just a liar and a coward and a piece of shit. And then everybody around me goes, fuck. That guy's just a bit rude. This guy was just saying that everybody has their own truth. No, they don't. They don't. Now, because people are weak and all that stuff I said at the beginning, most of them are like, oh, and they just stay away from me, which suits me fine. But 1 in 100, 1 in 1,000 sort of goes, that guy must have been maybe a little bit impolite, a bit harsh, but he wasn't fucking wrong. That's the guy I'm trying to reach. Because remember that there are many mottos in the Kurganet, and one of them is, leave all the retards behind. We are not here to save retards. Okay. Unseen 11 says, it's weird that a lot of countries have chosen October 15 as the day the restriction on the unvaxxed come into effect. Yeah, well, it's a coordinated global effort, so... But you know what? It doesn't affect me at all. None. Because I don't give a shit what they say. Exactly. Walls are relative to your face. Let's test the hypothesis. There you go. I have yet to have any journalist take me up on coffee tables. Apparently, coffee tables are a global reality for all journalists that say that truth is relative and that You've got your truth, I've got my truth, everybody's got their own truth. But they all believe in coffee tables. With absolute belief. I've offered many of them to let me smash their head into a coffee table. They all refuse. I don't get it. So, but truth is relative. We're all just somebody's dream, right? Just vividly dream your way into a fluffy cloud. They can't do it. They don't want to do it. It's weird. Yeah. Chad. Hello, Chad. I love Chad. He's a cool dude. We err too much on the side of incompetence when it's more often passive malice. Well, yes. I think on Social Galactic, it's been noted. There's that fake Catholic deacon who's been going on like, oh, it's been for the... He thinks he's won. This fucking idiot thinks he's like, oh yeah, I got him on the ropes now. He hasn't replied to me for like 4 days. Yeah. What he doesn't understand is that I'm just letting the rope go out. It's like fishing. Trolling comes from fishing, sea fishing. If you've ever sea fished, what happens when you hook a big fish or even any fish? You let him tire himself out. You let him give him all the rope you want. And then he thinks, I'm free. Oh, yeah, that guy stung me. The Kurgan stung me, but now I'm free. I'm winning. And then all of a sudden, ka-chum! Yep. And now I'm reeling you in. And you're going to become a steak on my barbecue. That's what happens. Hello, Elia. Oh, Elia's a brilliant dude. He's recently got baptized. Salute, my friend. So, indeed. What do you guys want to talk about? 22 of you. Wow. I have survived my death quite well, apparently. Hello, Woolly Ram. I was just thinking about you today, actually, just before coming on the stream. And I was thinking, I need to talk to Woolly again. I need to have a little session with Woolly Ram. I don't know about what, but it's going to be 4 hours if we talk about anything anyway, so it doesn't really matter. We can start off talking about one thing and we never get to the end of it. Did you ever get the video of your debate with Jada? No, there was a guy. I'm sorry, man. I might have been so slammed. If you have sent it to me, do it again, and I'll try and rip the whole thing. I just haven't had time. Quite frankly, these morons don't really concern me too much. Backstabber, nice one, Elia, and good evening, Wooly. Yeah, it's really interesting. There's I don't want to say too much, but there's a guy in Taiwan that is now on Zoom calls with my battle priest. He doesn't have any SEDE near him, and there's people all over the world that are starting to understand that this shit that's happening has got a very real spiritual, supernatural dimension, and they're starting to come home. They're starting to realize, oh, Christianity is it. Unfortunately, in America, a lot of that is, there's a guy on Social Galactic who posted something quite interesting where he was saying, I know this guy, he's like got 7 kids, he's a hunter, he's like a base dude, Presbyterian or whatever, and he took the clutch shot as soon as it came out. The thing is, and I mentioned something to him that I read this book called Ami, A-M-I, which was in Italian, and it was originally in Spanish, I think, written by some guy in South America. I think it's been translated into English and so on. But it's basically the story of this boy who sees these aliens, and they take him on their spacecraft, and they like have a little flight around, and it's sort of pretty left-wing in a lot of senses, because they're saying, oh, well, the aliens are so advanced, they don't kill anything, they eat only this like weird fruit that, provides everything. They don't have marriage. If they want to make love, with anybody, everything is fine. It's like sort of a boomer version of like, we're also advanced that we don't have anything like jealousy, and if you want to bang some dude one day and then another dude another day, or some woman one day and one woman another, it's all fine, it's all good, we don't kill anything. But the interesting part about that book was that the aliens had this thing that could measure your spiritual evolution, and the whole planet had to have a majority of people getting to a certain level before they could join the sort of galactic federation or whatever. And the interesting thing that they kind of got right was like, they were flying around with this little sensor checking out people's like evolution level, and this hunter out in the sticks, his evolution level was really high, and the boy was like, wait a minute, that guy kills things, and and the alien said, yeah, well, he does, but he's very evolved in many other areas. So although he still kills animals, he's like, honorable, respectful, blah blah blah, which I kind of got it right. And the thing is, you must never confuse outer behavior with inner strength. And especially in America. America is an easy country to live in and pretend or look like you're like, a top dude who's interested in, all the cool stuff like guns and being sort of right wing and conservative, blah, blah, blah. But the reality is, again, from martial arts, you get guys that out there are like captains of industry, and they come in all dressed in a suit and a tie, and they're like, yeah. And you take all that shit off. Now you're in a gi like everybody else, and you get on the floor, and they're nobodies. They're scared. And you get a guy who's like almost homeless, just playing a guitar, but when he gets on that floor, he's giving everything he's got. So you got to learn to differentiate between reality and fake. America is the champion of fake because they are a Freemasonic country and they've plasticated everything. I got fooled too. You get some really convinced American dude that's, yeah, well, I can do this and that and the other. You think, oh, well, he must be really good. And then whatever it is that they said they can do or are able to do, you like go up against them and they're like nothing. It's just like, wait, what? There's like 15-year-old kids that are better than this guy. What's he talking about? Why is he just talking so much shit? It's hard to understand until you realize it's not even really their fault. They've been brainwashed into that belief system that they're the best at this and the best at that. And it's like, no, you're not. You really aren't. It's weird. Woolly Ram says that he's got some thoughts bubbling around and that my last astronomy video had me thinking about Genesis. Yes, anti-gravity technology, Sodom and Gomorrah. I did do Sodom and Gomorrah in the history series, so if you look at that and you see how it's weird, I didn't mean it to be this way, but like all the Kurganet videos, so the Face on Mars series is sort of reaching almost the end, but things tie up. Because if reality is true, if I've got things more or less right, then it would make sense that completely disparate topics on one thing. I talk about martial arts, I talk about astronomy, I talk about hypnosis, I talk about the lies you've been told in history, but all those things, eventually they converge. And if I got it right, they would, because the reality is reality, the truth is the truth, so they would. TVCL says, tension makes people ineffective, but passion is also appropriate in life too. Can you speak on being passionate whilst being relaxed? Well, yeah, I don't know. For me, it's just a natural thing. I don't have to work at it. If something interests me, I don't get tired of doing it. That's like good. As a kid, when people say, "Oh, well, you can't eat 2 liters of ice cream," well, I can. I have. I just did. I feel fine. Or it's like, well, you can't have sex 8 times a day. Well, yeah, I can. It's all right. So I don't know. I don't really know what it's like to have to motivate yourself to do things you enjoy. I enjoy a lot of stuff. Life's interesting. There's a lot of stuff that's interesting out there. So tension is fear. Look, the way the Russians put it, which is really clever, there's only 2 emotions, love and fear. What do you operate out of? It's as simple as that. And it really is. If you operate out of fear, you're tired all the time. Everything is a problem. You're tense all the time. If you operate out of love, really, you're not that stressed at all. Now, I might seem like a misanthropic son of a bitch, because I am. That's my mother's fault, and your fault. All you out there. But the reality is, I'm a loving human being. Woolly Ram says the Prometheus plan seems to be following Genesis, but in reverse and inverted. I'm not really sure what that means, but maybe I should have this. Okay. Sorry, I had a message from the wife about some school stuff. All right, cool. Good. Oh, some random guys I haven't spoken to in a long time. Good old Sergey, my Russian friend. I don't know if any of you have read the Dragonlance series, but in the Dragonlance series, there's a group of knights that like never shave their mustache. That's my friend Sergey. He's never shaved his mustache. And I don't know, but I suspect that the people who wrote the Dragonlance series of books probably got that from some Ukrainian thing, because he's basically Russian/Ukrainian, whatever. He's like, we're the same people, you know. But he's never shaved his mustache, and he's never touched a drop of alcohol. And once I said to him, but look, dude, it's just you and me, you know, you're not going to become a... He goes, no. I'm like, but Sergey, why are you so rigid? He goes, no. I saw what that stuff did to my grandfather, to my father. I'm not ever touching alcohol. And I was like, see, that's the difference between a prejudice and a principle. Sometimes it's hard to tell the difference. I know, because I've been accused of being prejudiced a lot of times. But it's not. It's a principle. So, Unseen11 says, have you ever fired the Steyr rifle? It's a variant of the bullpup the Austrian army issues. No, I have not. And I aesthetically absolutely hate bullpup anything. I really don't like them. I'm a very classical kind of guy. I remember when I was working with these Italian guys in Venice, you know, they were architects and whatever, and the main guy that owned it was a complete fucking dickhead and modernist sort of, I want to be famous, you know, like postmodern shit. Absolute trash. And I pretty much told him that, you know, we were in the studio, there's all the 4 partners are there, and he says, oh, well, what do you think of this? And I was like, oh, postmodernism is shit, and it should all be burnt to the ground. So they're like, haha, they kind of nervously laugh, and one guy goes, well, what is the style that you like? And I'm like, well, you know, I'm a pretty classical guy. And he goes, like, so what do you mean? Like, I said, well, essentially anything after the Renaissance should just be blown up. They looked at me like, oh my God. You know, sort of classical Rome, classical Greece, and, you know, the big cathedrals that were Latin. I don't like that Gothic shit. That stuff can go as well. It was like, okay. And it's the same thing with weapons, really. You know, one of the guns I really like, that I would love to get my hands on one, because apparently my grandfather had one, and I never saw it, but, you know, my dad saw it, I don't know, it disappeared somewhere. It was a broom-handled Mauser, because those things were excellent. They're like, they could fire single shot, 3-shot, or fully auto. And they came in like, I think, I don't want to lie now, I think there was a 9mm, and I think there was a 7.65 version. I may be wrong about the 7.65. But that's a cool gun. It's a cool gun. I also, you know, when I worked as a bodyguard in that, I carried a revolver almost all the time. You know, I had a Heckler & Koch, a 40 USP, but Didn't like that. That 40 USP is supposed to be a great gun, you know, a Heckler and Koch. But that fucking thing, now and then, it misfired. You know, it didn't set off the ammo. The striker didn't hit the thing hard enough and it didn't go off. Never had that problem with the Ruger revolver. Never. Not once. And, you know, with that revolver, at the time, I don't think I could do it now, but back then I was training obsessively, you know, going to the range and like drawing and firing. At the time, at 50 meters, with my handgun and my ammo, at 50 meters, if there was a hostage situation where they're like, you know, oh, I'm holding her by the neck, but his head is like next to it, I would have just gone like, calmly, no, let her go, you know, you've got no way out, boom! And that'd be a dead dude. And I wouldn't have hit the hostage. Because at 50 meters, with that gun, I could draw from like holstered and fire and hit the head in under 2 seconds. Sounds slow, but at 50 meters with a 4-inch barrel, you try it. But that's because it was that gun, I knew that gun, and so on. So, Greeny Houdini. Oh, hello. Oh, you've changed your profile picture. You've become a little bit less blasphemous. That's good. Halloween is coming up. You have some desert eagles I can use from a costume. If I had some desert eagles, I wouldn't lend them to anybody, darling, because as my granddad and my dad said before me, you know, well, it's sort of, my granddad was like, you don't lend your car, your dog, your wife, or your gun to anybody. Me and my dad, we don't give a shit about cars. So my dad changed it to like, yeah, I don't lend my gun or my dog to anybody. Car, I don't give a shit about. The wife, I don't lend her either, but, you know, sometimes you just want to sell the bitch away and get away from her. So that, he was like, And, you know, I'm sort of, yeah, gun, wife, dog, and car. Because I think, go back to the old roots. You know, I don't really give a shit about the car, but it's my car. Fuck you, get your own car, you know? So, and yeah, I like desert eagles. So again, if I was, you know, if I had unlimited money, what guns would I get? Oh, I have, you know, I don't want to say some things, but I have recently fulfilled a couple of like things that I had since I was a kid. But so, okay, unlimited money, and I can buy whatever guns I want. I'd get probably a couple of 50 caliber like rifles. Then I'd get a whole bunch of like 338 Lapua, 300s Winchester Magnum, and really I don't want anything smaller than that. Then I'd get like a whole bunch of single action revolvers from like black powder 1851 Navy, which I'm actually looking for one of them. But it's a pain in the ass. They're like, make it difficult. No one really makes them. Uberti died. Uberti, the guy that was making the most coolest black powder 1851 Navy handguns, died. So they don't make those anymore. So now you got to go to these other guys, and I don't know if they're any good, and they don't look as good as the Uberti ones, and it's like, pain in the ass. So, but I'd get a bunch of them. I'd get like the Colt Dragoons. I'd get some ivory-handled ones, because when I was a kid, I used to read the Jonah Hex comic books, the original Jonah Hex, not the other shit they made after. You know, there was Jonah Hex, the original cowboy comic books. Then he became Hex when he went like into the future. There was like 17 of them, and after that, Jonah Hex ended, because everything they did after that was just a pile of shit, including the film. But I'd get a couple of ivory-handled Colt Dragoons that have been converted from black powder to bullets. I know, you see, that's what I'm saying, like really weird classical shit. I'd get a broom-handle Mauser in both calibers, the PPK of James Bond, with and without silencer. Silencers are completely legal in Italy, by the way, so can't have that here. But, and then what else would I get? Oh, a couple of Rugers, like revolvers. Probably, as far as semi-autos go, I'd get a couple of 2.2 target pistols, a couple of 2.2 pocket pistols, a couple of 380s, a couple of 25s. Weird, right? Desert Eagles, definitely a whole bunch of them, because I kind of want the gold one, and I kind of want the black one with white ivory handles, and I kind of want one that's all white just because I want a bunch of those. And then if, again, we're talking unlimited money, there is a gun that I have genuinely, no joke, tried to get people to build for me. I'm willing to pay up to $5,000 to get this gun done. But nobody wants to do it because, oh, well, you know, it's a bit difficult. And it's the frame of it is based on a Ruger, is it Red Hawk? I think it's the Ruger Red Hawk, which has got an 8-shot 357 chamber, although it's a revolver. But I want it modified to the point where, and it's got an under-barrel shotgun barrel, which is illegal because of, you know, they don't want to give you short barrel whatevers. So I thought, okay, well, if you can't have a shotgun, then have a flare. You can have a flare gun, right? Flare guns are not illegal. But nobody wants to build it for me just because it's difficult and painful. But I say, look, I'm willing to pay you a shitload of money. Why won't you do it? Lazy people. That's the laziness of humans. Right. Landon Wold says, your gun is like underwear. Don't share it with anybody. There you go. I agree with you. Greeny Houdini says, I like the Beagles. The Baby Desert Eagle with the interchangeable barrel. Okay. Yeah, that's practical. The Baby Desert Eagle is like, I don't need a Baby Desert Eagle. I can handle the Big Desert Eagle, so I like the Big Desert Eagle. But yeah, like I said, most of the guns I would want are revolvers. As far as semi-autos go, the Beretta PX4 Storm, I'd want a full-size one of them, but I want specially made so that it doesn't have any polymer shit. I want a full steel-blown Beretta PX Storm, full-size one. What else? As far as semi-autos go, the Sig Sauers, some of the Sig Sauers are okay, or kind of alright. They, you know, I actually do like the 1911. The 1911, but I want like the military issue, like one that was given in like whatever, Vietnam or the Second World War, you know, the green ones. I want one of them. They're like $4,000. I'm like, what the fuck? You know, it's like government issue. But I like them. Aesthetically, I like the 1911. It's a great looking gun. I can't shoot them very well. A proper full-blown 1911, I can't shoot very well because of the grip. You know, they've got the double safety thing where you've got like you've got to be like holding the grip tight to engage the safety that's on the back strap. I don't shoot like that. And I just got a pellet gun, you know, to teach the kids how to shoot and stuff. And as usual, even when I'm at the range and stuff, you know, when they say like, okay, sit there and aim, I do okay, you know, I'm better than most people shooting and aiming. But where I really shine is where I don't have to like sit there and aim, where it's just like instinctive, like doom, 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 doom. To the point where I go to the range, I went to the range in England with, you know, they only shoot 2.2s and shitty little rifles. And I'm like, okay, I'm just, because, you know, I know guns better than most people, but it's like you don't go to a gun range and sort of go, I know this. It's like, no, just shut up. Let the guy do his thing. Let him tell you what to do. And like, okay, thanks. Yeah, I'll do it your way. And then like after a while, then I can say, okay, now do you think I could shoot like the way I think I want to shoot? You know, like, yeah, go for it. And it's just like I picked up and just like, no like aiming and stuff. It's just like dang, 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 and I chewed out the center of the bullseye. The guy looks at me and goes, was that a fluke? I was like, no, that's how I shoot well. But I've been here for 20 years. I can't do that. And I'm like, yeah, well, you kind of got to feel the gun, you know? It's like, what are you talking about? It's like, dude, if you've been shooting for 20 years and you're aiming all the time, like, you know, you have to, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with aiming, but it's like you got to learn how to aim on the run, you know, because that's how I learned to shoot, you know, with my dad and like hunting, like in Africa and like running antelopes and stuff. You don't have to like time like, hey, I'm just going to now aim carefully. It's just you got to move and shoot, lead and shoot. So I carry a Paratrooper edition 1911. Mine was 5K. Oh, Greenie Houdini. I'm already married. Otherwise, that's beautiful. That is really salute to Greenie Houdini. That's awesome. Okay, let's see. Oh, sorry, let me just scroll back a little bit. So I hated the gas piston on the Steyr. It would randomly blow out, turning a rifle into a bolt action. I don't know what you're talking about, but I hate the look of that rifle. I will never pick one up. The mode's Red Hawk sounds heavy. It is. Oh, the red modified Red Hawk that I want, it's probably like 3 kilos. I don't give a shit. Because in my ideal world, I just wear it strapped to my leg like a cowboy. And anybody pisses me off, it's just like, boom! Amanda says, I know more about amazing different guns in this episode. I was looking to buy one. I got my concealed carry license. Great. Modernized LeMat project, LS16. See, I'm not a fan of the LeMat, but there's a man after my own heart. He understands. What about knives and swords? My dad has got an original samurai sword, which are illegal to be exported from Japan. So this was one that was taken out before that rule or whatever. And, you know, he's like, oh, well, you know, my will and this and that. I'm like, dude, you know, whatever, Dad, you know. If you really need to make a will, make sure I get the 460 Weatherby and a fucking samurai sword, all right? I don't give a shit about anything else. I mean, you know, if you got stashes of gold, like leave me some, that'd be great. But, you know, I've got plenty of knives and stuff. And again, most of the stuff is in South Africa. But I've got a... Maybe I can show you guys that. Hopefully it doesn't get me into any trouble. I don't think it will. But here's a thing that I got. This is like a silly little thing. I got this in the Vatican, believe it or not. And it's a letter opener. But those Woolly Ram will understand. This thing is a letter opener, but it's made completely of silver. So it's a little letter opener. And now I know that there it's got a little commemorative little plaque. I don't know if you can read that, but there you go. And now I know that any werewolves that come into my house, shoot them right in the eyeball. And my brother's got he's got one as well. And I still have it. Got this many years ago. And my dad gave me a present. This is like it's got my initials on one side and like a cobra on the other side. And this is a tanto that you can shave with this thing. You can literally shave with it. I don't know if you'll be able to see. Yeah, I need to go up, otherwise the hair fall down. Yeah, I don't know if the camera will pick that up. You see that like rough looking stuff there? That's a couple of beard hair. That's not the blade. The blade is absolutely spotless. And my wife once used this to cut a bit of cardboard. It's a wonder I am not divorced. I think it's the only thing that saved us from that was Catholicism itself, because you do not use this stuff to cut paper. I explained to her that's only for VIP people that like break into your house, because like the common thieves, you just beat them with a stick. Oh, the 1911 series handguns look bad. Yeah, you remind me of a Montague in Rome. What? Montague and Romeo and Juliet with their shooting style, lol, like the Quick and the Dead. Yeah. Oh, but the thing is that's I like that idea of fanning, you know, like most of you that don't know guns won't know what I'm talking about. But if you've got a single action revolver, you got to cock the thing every time you pull the trigger. But if you just hold the trigger down in the old guns, I don't know if you can do that in the new ones, like the Red Hawks, the Black Hawks, I doubt it, but maybe you can, I don't know. But certainly in the old ones, if you hold the trigger down and you just like, you know, keep cocking the thing, it spins the tumbler or whatever you call it, the tambura, I forget the name, the cylinder. And so it's almost like, you know, trying to shoot quickly. You just do. And I still want to do that. I reckon I'd be pretty good at that. Oh, Montague, you mean Montage in Romeo and Juliet. You mean the one with Leonardo DiCaprio. I can't stand that guy. Oh, the broom handle and revolvers are so cool. I bet the Systema can make you better shoot. Oh, absolutely, Systema can. Yes, it's an expensive hobby. Some women buy clothes. Meh. That's right, clothes are overrated. You seriously. Don't make me sin, woman. Japanese nationalists. Yes, they are. Good for them. Now, the Japanese make some horrifically shit guns, but their blades are awesome. Oh, another thing that if I ever make a shitload of money I want to get done is a set of straight rapiers. Like straight-edged, almost like cutlass, you know, not as thick as a cutlass, rapiers, but like with a cutting edge and totally straight. Dueling rapiers. I want a set of them and a set of dueling pistols so that I can go around slapping people in the face and telling them to meet me at dawn. Although, you know, I'm Catholic, so I'm not supposed to do that. I know. You see, my own religion works against me sometimes. That's awesome. I love swords. I have a few. You're a weird bird, Greeny Houdini. I have only a silver pitcher. Maybe I can make it work if I encounter a vampire. No. Werewolves is silver. Vampires, you kind of need holy water and blessed items. And you need to be a Catholic. So, Greeny, sorry, but, you know, you're just going to have to become a Sede. Always carry knives on me and my other weapon, a rosary. There you go. That's it, werewolf. Werewolf, you're getting it, girl. Yeah, I feel like in England, like I always carry this now because I'm on a farm and you just need a knife all the time. And it's like a little one, it's like a little Swiss Army knife. But this, in England, this would be a dangerous weapon that could get you in trouble. Now, I carried a knife all my life, really, when I was a kid, whatever came, because I grew up in Africa. You always need a knife. There's like stuff to cut or like some parcel to open, or, you know, it's got like a little screwdriver on it, which comes in really handy. So, but, you know, they're trying to make things so retarded now. That big gun guy that I was talking about that had the giant thing, he told me, like, yeah, when I was a kid, I used to just shoot the tutu in my garden. And the neighbors used to come around and check, hey, shooting the things in the garden. It was like a show, you know? Like now, anti-terrorism laws. And it's all become fucking retarded. I was like, I know what you mean, dude. I mean, he's boomer age, but he's awesome. I really like that guy. Woolly Ram, have you heard much about vax zombies? My friends say they see a lot of people walking around in a complete daze. Well, the funny thing is that I've had that, and I think it's from the fucking shiggers. I had a couple of days where I was like completely mind fuzzed. I was like, man, I need to go sleep. To the point that my wife, you know, being a bit hypochondriac or whatever, said, look, my dad died of cancer and he had that stuff. He was getting dizzy. And I was like, fuck off. I don't have cancer. But she kind of forced me to go to the doctor, and then I've had my blood pressure taken because I said to the doctor, I said, look, I've always had a low blood pressure, which is, you know, that's just how I've been as a kid. If I got up too quickly, I used to faint, I used to pass out. Then as I got older, that like went away, and I think, you know, now I'm, you know, probably I'm working my ass off, but it's like it's not like going to the gym. It's not like training. It's different. You know, it's sort of like tiring work that is not exactly aerobic or whatever. And I've been taking my blood pressure. You know, my wife bought me this little machine and stuff. So I've been checking it out for the last couple of days, and my pressure is about 116/73, 114/70, 110/78, 121/63. But you know, my heart rate is always, sometimes it's below 60, sometimes it's 65. So in my mind, I'm fit. And what I think is the problem is I need to do a bit more aerobic exercise, because sometimes I get like a little bit faint or whatever. And I think it's because my body is like, dude, you're kind of not doing the aerobic exercise I used to do, like a lot of hiking or a lot of martial arts stuff. So I just need to work my ass off a bit more, I think. Again, when it gets hard, do more. Have you heard? Yeah. So about the zombies, not here. I haven't seen a lot of that going on, but I have seen some shitty driving. But it's Italy, so who knows? Um, People seem pretty aware here, pretty awake. So I haven't seen a lot of. I've read about it. I've heard people talk about it, but not where I am. I haven't seen any of that. Amanda says your wife is so beautiful she can get away with it. I wish you would do an episode with her. I think she's pretty camera shy and she doesn't really want people to know much about her. I mean, I'll ask her, but talk about raising babies in Italy. Oh, I don't think she would tell you anything very, very positive at the moment, because she's actually learning Italian really quick, because you know, she's been sort of complaining like, oh, well, I don't have any friends here, I can't speak the language. I was like, well, sorry, lady, but get off your ass. And she's like, we've got 4 kids, you know. It's like, you got indoor plumbing, you got electricity, you got Amazon. Plenty of Catholic women that were plowing the field with 12 kids. They didn't have indoor plumbing. What are you complaining about? Because, you know, I am soft-hearted that way. But so she's sort of stepped it up a bit, and she's been doing this Duolingo, which I originally told her, listen, fuck, ignore Duolingo, it's shit. Just take the Pimlizer CDs, listen to the Pimlizer CDs, and you'll never forget it. Because the Pimlizer stuff works for me. But she tried it, and she was like, oh, I don't really get it. I need to see it written down. And I was like, I just thought, But, you know, my wife's got some serious autistic little issues as well. Or we're a bunch of autists. And I honestly have this theory, which I think is proven. Once your IQ gets beyond a certain point, you're going to start showing Asperger's, autistic tendencies or whatever. Because I think the human brain is such that once you get like enough connections, then it starts to like, hey, this shit needs to be this way. She's got a thing that she does with her feet, which is like constant. Whenever she enters a room, she's explained it to me like a bunch of times. I still don't get it. But it's kind of like she has to think how many steps it would take to get to the other side of the room, and to both sides of the room, and then to the corners of each object. And I'm like, wait, how the fuck can you keep track of all of that while you're in a room? I'm starting to understand why you don't listen to me. You know, it's like she's doing this weird counting autistic thing with her feet the whole time, of like how many steps it would take to get there, and then if it's the alternate, you know, if it's not even, then if it's an odd number of steps, then she has to do it the other way. It's really fucking complicated. But it's like, you know, I got my own things or whatever, so it's like, okay. And so when she told me, oh, I need to see how it's written down, I was like, yeah, whatever. But she started to do this Duolingo thing, and like now she's surprising me. She's like coming out with Italian phrases at random things, which I'm like, I didn't even know you knew that word. So yeah, no, she's you know, she's smart. She's doing pretty well, really. Something don't sit right with me about Leo DiCaprio. I agree with you. Leo DiCaprio, I can't stand the guy. He's just some kind of fucking. I read an article once that a guy wrote. I can't remember if it was online or somewhere. Some guy that was. I can't remember. I don't want to get it wrong, but I'm maybe misremembering. I think he was the boyfriend, or he was with the girl who did Showgirls, the blonde chick that did Showgirls, which, Gina Gershon, that's the hot one. But the blonde chick that showed her pussy on TV and whatever. And apparently he was with her, but Leo DiCaprio and his little posse were like trying to fuck her or something, I don't know. And she was like, hey, these guys are kind of like mobbing me or something. And the guy said, hey, what the fuck? And Leo DiCaprio apparently sent a message saying, well, why don't you come out here and, fight me, I'll fight you. And like he had all his little friends with him. And this guy was like, okay, fuck you then. I'm going to put my shoes on. I'm going to come out, it was 3 a.m. and I'm going to beat your ass. And when he got there, then it was all just big talk and nothing happened. But I believe that story was probably true. And I think Leo DiCaprio is just, he's another nothing. People say, oh, he's such a great actor. I'm like, I don't know, he's a douche. I don't like him. Never liked him, can't stand him. Here's for Japan staying xenophobic and weird. Yes, I agree with you, Wooly. That's why I get on with the Japanese. I don't know if I told the story before about the racist Japanese when I was in Japan. It's quite funny. So everybody's super polite in Japan, and we went into the shop, me and my friend, and the Japanese guy that was there, he just started acting in a way that I was like, I'm gonna fucking cut this motherfucker's head off. Now, in the Western world, what this guy's behavior was like was perfectly polite and nobody knew any better. But I, who have pretty much a Japanese brain, understood that this guy was just treating us like scum. He was like, come there, and in English, because he could speak English, and unlike all the Japanese, what would you like to eat? But like, and I was like, Now, my friend is English. This guy is as rude as they come because he's English, not because he's trying to be rude, but because he has fuck all manners. He's just an Englishman that was raised in Africa. So it's just, and I was like, I'm talking to my friend, and it's like, but from when we came in, the guy was like, he just did things. I can't even explain to you like how it was, right? Just the way he looked, the way he acted, the way he moved, the way he's like, what would you like? It's like, what the fuck do you want in my shop? When you order something, fuck off, kind of thing. And I was like, don't try that shit, dude. I'm in Japan. I know I'm a baka gaijin, but you're still gonna treat me properly. Fuck you. Because otherwise I'll start to behave like the Negro that you're accusing me of being. And that's why I sympathize with the black people that do that shit when they get a white guy that's kind of I get that stuff. I've lived in Africa for 25 years. So I get in there and I'm like, we're gonna sit down and think about it. And we sit down and my friend's like, okay, we get this, we get that. And I'm like, fuck you, I know what I want before I walked in. Now we're sitting there, the Japanese guy comes, what can I get you now? What can I get you now? As in, have your drink and then fuck off. And I was like, yeah. So, Paul, so what we were talking about, like, to the point where my English friend goes, Joe, dude, this guy's waiting to take our order. And he's speaking to us in English, right? So I know he speaks English. And I look at my friend and I go, yeah. And the yellow slant-eyed monkey can stand there and fucking wait until I'm good and ready. Since he's a racist cunt who's trying to treat me like a white monkey, he can behave like the yellow monkey that he is now and wait. Or he can speak up and lose some fucking teeth, right? My friend's like, oh shit. Joe's just going off on one. I'll just have a coffee then. That's what he does. And I'm like, I just make him wait there for another 2 or 3 minutes, and he just stands there, and now he's like fuming. And he heard everything I said, and he's like, oh, you ready to take my order now? I'll have a cappuccino. And see to it that I can see you making it, yeah? He's like, goes to make my cappuccino, and I can see him. He's right there. Brings it back. I'm like, okay. Drank my thing, took my time, and left. But because I acted that way, I think it helped that man learn something. Now, I don't, I've got nothing against the fact that he treated me like a stupid monkey that doesn't know how to behave and shits on the floor. In fact, I think he's entitled to treat me that way because I'm a Westerner. And compared to the average Japanese, the average Westerner behaves exactly like a stupid monkey that shits on the floor. Compared to the Japanese, we are fucking retards. So I don't begrudge him that. I begrudge him the fact that he simply assumed I was all like all the other white Negroes. And I am not. So fuck you. And I'm going to teach you that sometimes you get one of us that is just as smart as you, or maybe even smarter. And it happens. It happened to me when I was going to engineering school. There's a black dude there that couldn't speak hardly any English. But at maths, he was far better than me. I didn't know that until I ran up with him. You know, we were doing like a fucking complicated engineering problem with bending moments with like 50 operations or whatever. And we're like, hey, white man, what answer do you get? I say a number, he says a number, he goes, no, you're wrong. And I'm like, fuck you, dude. You know, I've traveled the world, fucking smart, I like maths, and I got it wrong. Fuck you. But that's what I was thinking in my head. But I was like, okay, well, let's check. So we check the books, and I go, okay, look here, you see that, you got it right. It's the same as mine, the same as mine. But in my head, I'm thinking, this poor Negro got it wrong. And like there and there, oh, and there, oh, fuck, you're right, I'm wrong. Yep, you're right, and I'm wrong. And it was, you know, right there. But in my head, I was like, what a dick. I was assuming this guy was wrong just because I think he's a dumb black dude that can speak English. And he can't. He can't speak English very well. He speaks his language, Tsonga, but he's fucking smarter than me. He sure as shit knows how to do maths a lot better than me. And he must be a fucking genius, because with all the opportunity I've had, I should kick this class's ass compared to this guy. You know? And he's kicking my ass. He's kicking everybody's ass. So I was like, whatever this fucking guy says from now on with maths, I'm going to shut up and listen. So, you know, it happens. It's not about, that wasn't the point. But, you know, he taught me a lesson that was like, fuck. And hopefully I taught the Japanese guy a lesson. Oh, let's see. You can, LS16 goes, you can fan any current production single action revolver, but it's faster to pull up a two-handed grip and fan it with your support hand thumb while holding down the trigger. Yeah, I know that. But this just looks cooler, you know? Come on. You can't just kill people efficiently. You gotta make it look good. I'm a Cajun ninja. What, you're from, what, the Big Easy? Is that it? You're half French? Is that your actual picture there? I'm curious now. Just send nudes, alright? Like, put me out of my misery. Elia says, do you have any English-speaking priests, parishes near you? Not near me, but my my battle priests speak English, as you know. The ones near me, they speak Italian, so. Stretch every morning and night, exactly. Meditate. Okay. Tortoise House says dehydration makes you faint. I'm pretty good about not being dehydrated. Woolly Ram says, I wonder how many people are arranged to receive saline water instead of the vac. Well, all the elite fuckers do. But some of them, like the armed forces, in Italy, that's what's been discovered. The armed force, 50% of the armed forces are no-vax people, because they've had the vax, and then they went to test for antibodies, and there isn't a single antibody in them. So the armed forces guys have realized, fuck, these guys are giving us a fake vaccine so that we're okay. And that when the no-vax guys go like, fuck you, we're like, hey, I had the vaccine and I'm fine. So these guys are just crazy. They've realized that that's the game. So they've started testing each other and then doing testimonies for other people in the armed forces. One of the top policewomen in Rome basically said, fuck the vax. I'm here to protect people. That was my job. And if I can't do that anymore, then my job doesn't mean shit. And in Rome right now, there's riots. There are people like fucking fighting the police. And that's what I was hoping, because Rome and the Romans have got a history of kicking out people. You know, they've like deposed popes by force. Because like, no, fuck this pope. He's not good. They just go in there and pull him out by bodily force. So I'm hoping that the Romans are going to fucking kick off. And I'm, you know, but that's Italy. I knew that something would happen. And that's why I came here. Was DiCaprio a child star? Yes, he was. Was Eating Gilbert Grape, I believe, was one of his first ones that launched him. Who is Valiant Thor? I have no idea. I don't know what you're talking about. Best English dictionary to have? It's right there behind me. The Oxford English Dictionary, the original one, in, I think it's 13 volumes. Did I say? Yeah, 13 volumes. Folio sized. My wife got it for my 50th birthday, so. With all the modeling designers being exposed for sex trafficking, I see why Leo stays in that ring. Yeah, there you go. Amanda says, yesterday a guy in Walmart did that to me. I was like, hell no, Karen. He cursed at me and I was like, hell no. I spoke to the manager. Yeah, I get it too. So done with old boomer miserable attitude. Okay, you guys are laughing, but I'm not sure at what. Kurgan, you're my spirit animal. Like I said, Greeny Houdini, sadly I'm already married, but you know, I don't know, perhaps there's, I think in the Bible you're allowed more than one wife. I don't know how that works out with Catholicism, don't quote me. I'm a bit behind on the chat here, let me just catch up. I'm amazed in the difference in the Japanese now compared to in World War II. In what way? Slim Shade 94 says, is this a gaming channel? No, it's not. Unless you're talking about real life gaming. Woolly Ram, speaking of monkeys that shit the floor, Israel's dairy industry is at near standstill due to the high holidays and COVID restriction. Fun. Yeah, well, that's me in my picture. Well, my compliments to your mummy. She did a good job making you. TVCL, looks like Leo was abused by the Nickelodeon crowd when he was a child actor. And? What is your channel about? I'm new here. It's about whatever I want to talk about, Slim Shady. It's a big internet. But mostly about proper Catholicism without all the pedophiles, which is called pseudo-privationism and a bunch of other stuff. Guns. What are your guys' favorite guns? Well. Greeny's the only one that told me what her favorite gun is, I think. 25 of you. Any other topic you want to talk about? Thanks. Oh, well, don't thank me. I'm merely noticing objective facts. How's the abuse of authority and police violence in Italy? Anything like in Australia? No. Nowhere. Dances with Logos is here. Hello. Oh, I'm not going to say anything about that, but yeah. No, about the police brutality in Italy is, I don't know, but my wife just actually recently sent me, just now really, just before I came on, a video about some police, it looks like, oh, the police brutality in Italy, and there's some guy whacking some people, but then there's some people whacking the cops, so I don't know. The police in Italy understand a couple of things, that usually people know who they are and where they live. And even, the biggest city in Italy is not that big. Like Turin, which used to be the old capital, the Roman capital, now it's Rome. But that's got like less than 1 million people. That's one of the biggest cities in the north of Italy. I don't know what the population of Rome is off the top of my head, but probably not much more. So, it's not like London where there's 10 million people and they're all anonymous. Everybody knows a little bit about somebody. Even in a so-called big city, you can't go away very far, So now, and the Australians are just cocked. The Australians, you got to understand, it's like I was saying to my wife, basically the reason I don't like Australians is because the Australians, they're the chavs. They were all like jail people that England didn't want anymore, so they shipped them out to Australia, and that's all they've done. And you know what the worst kind of guys? is a chav, you know, like one of these prison people who gets money all of a sudden, who's now got a little bit of wealth. That's what the Australians are like. They're just, I don't like them. The Winter says, where in Africa did you live? A few places. Nigeria, Botswana, South Africa. Woolly Ram says, I haven't used enough guns to have a favorite, but I like a CZ variant that was weapon when working security. Yeah, the CZ is actually, yeah, that's a good point. You reminded me of of the ones that I like. The CZ's a good gun, a really nice handgun. I'm not a fan of 9mm. I kind of think of like 9mm like just another 22, but they've all got their place. I don't know. I've never been a fan of 9mm for some reason, because I think they're like just a generic shitty round that, like, it's neither here nor there. If it's like a 22, okay, it's a tiny little round, but doesn't make a lot of noise. It's got its uses. Same if it's, like a little pocket pistol or whatever, a 380 or a 25 or something. They're like almost like zip guns. But like a 9mm is sort of like, I mean, I know it'll kill you dead if it hits you in the right spot, but it's not like a 357, it's not a 44, it's not a 50. And one thing I learned from hunting as a kid, use the biggest gun you can shoot comfortably. I don't give a shit what anybody says. Size matters in every field. Trust me on that. Do I play any instrument? I mean, you must be new here, The Winter. Do you not know that I've had a song made just for me? Sax, that Fleur East made a whole song. Sax. I play the sax beautifully. Ask anybody here. I won't do it now because the kids are asleep and it's just next door, but I'm a renowned sax player. I mean, I think all the people in the chat know that if I play it properly, it's probably the third trumpet of the apocalypse. Have you ever been to the Vatican? Yes, I have. That's where this thing came from. Where did I put it now? Oh, it's another more. Yes, I have, Greenie Houdini. I've been to the Vatican. And that's where I got this. The werewolf stabber made of silver. There you go. Show you again. Just for you. There. Little letter opener. From the Vatican. And yeah, it should be cleansed. Every stone in it should be exorcised and reconsecrated. And there should be a big pyre of pedophiles right in St. Peter's Square. On C11, from what Vox was saying, they're firing at protesters with rubber bullets, like here in Australia. I'm wondering if they're foreign mercs. Yeah. I believe that what Vox said happened wasn't technically in Italy, actually. So, I don't know. I don't watch the news. I don't have a TV, and I couldn't give a shit. All I'm saying is that the police I've seen around here are like completely fine. There's nothing wrong with them. Mandy says her favorite gun is a Ruger. Which Ruger? There's plenty of them. Rolex or Omega? Rolex. I got one. My dad gave me one. And I had it reconditioned when I was getting paid stupid money. It cost me like $3,000 to just clean it up. But I like Rolex, yeah. And I like Rolex because it's one of the ones that when you wear it, you don't have to like keep charging it. It just charges with a piezoelectric sort of, as long as you keep moving your hand or whatever, like as you go about your day, it just automatically charges it. My Shield is Disgust says, are you familiar with the work of Tom Horn? No, I have no idea who he is. Rakir says, in my experience, Italy's security are some of the finest. They have good intuition and use it. Yeah. Actually, Rakir is correct. I didn't know that until I lived in Venice for a bit, and I was surprised by it. But yeah, Italian cops and Italian security is actually fucking switched on. And the GIS, they're called GIS, like Gruppo Speciale, they're like special ops guys. which are a branch of the Carabinieri, they're like fucking hardcore. When in Venice, these like kind of idiot guys, they came in with an amphibian thing and they tried to take over Piazza San Marco, and there was like a bunch of them with guns in the tower of the Piazza San Marco. The Jish took them all out without killing anybody, without firing a single shot, without hurting anyone. They're proper, like, I would put them on a footing with the top Spetsnaz guys. Although I think the Russians are probably a step ahead, but who knows? The Gruppo Speciale of Italy are actually fucking hardcore. Which, again, I don't know. Slim Shady, when will COVID finally end? When enough people with, pitchforks and torches get rid of all the elite. And the politicians that are their puppets. Woolly Ram says, keep that sack sealed until it's time to summon the heavenly hosts. Very good. And a 16, he says, favorites. I like my ARs, my Model 17 6.5 Swede, and I've always liked my coach gun in 12 gauge. You're an eclectic man, little 16, and as the Romans used to say, the gustibus. So there's no counting for taste. You've got different tastes from mine, but it's I get it. As far as shotgun, I do love shotguns. I had a favorite pump action out in Africa, which probably will end up staying there. But again, if we're talking blue sky, not anything I can actually own, but I would really like a sawn off at the back as well, so it's like a pistol grip, over and under shotgun. So basically like Mad Max, but instead of a side-by-side, over and under. And then of course I'd also like a bunch of like over and under shotguns, because they just look clean. I like those lines. Mandy Jones says, one wife or multiple wives? Well, you got your pros and your cons. I mean, multiple wives is multiple headaches, because every woman is a pain in the ass. But then you got the upside that you can rotate, maybe, But I don't know how you'd handle that, quite honestly. It would just be so much. Just that eventually that gang up against you. I know that would happen. And plus there would be so much politicking around, and one gets pissed off because you spend more time with the other one. No, I think it has to be one wife. I mean, I know Catholicism is basically one wife, and to be honest, I can't say that I've never really been I'm pretty loyal. Like when I'm with somebody that I actually care about, and if it's just like before I was Catholic and everything, when I was just like seeing, well, then it didn't matter. It's like, whatever, I'm seeing you, you're seeing others, I'm seeing, I don't care. I didn't even ask. I just did what I wanted to do. But I think multiple wives would have to be, I don't know, that probably have to come from a culture that just generally accepts that. I think too much hassle, quite frankly. Rakir says, during lockdown, they asked for my documents about 30% of the time. I passed through Rome's terminal station. That was strange, and I don't understand why, but usually they're very professional. Well, Rakir, that's because you're not white. And they're not dumb. So most of the people that cause trouble are not local citizens, they're foreigners. Which country has the best military? I think that's too much of a global question. I think that the real hardcore trained special forces of the Russians, probably second to none. Again, the Italian special forces guys, I think, are again probably very close to the top. The British used to have a very decent overall army. I don't think it is anymore. I think it's a bunch of pussies that are now like wrong. But 20, 30 years ago, certainly 40, 50 years ago, I think they had a very pretty disciplined, good force. The Italians have never had a cohesive sort of military unit, but they have outstanding individuals and outstanding small groups. South African military before, you know, the current ones, the apartheid white South African military was very effective. They fought, you know, very against outnumbered by large numbers, but they didn't give a shit. I believe that Brazil special forces, again, have got some pretty intense special forces guys. Funnily enough, one of them came to the airport. You know, I was served some papers at the airport in Brazil because of my daughter and whatever, and they had this lawyer woman serve them to me, and next to her was this guy who was definitely special ops. He was built like a tank, and obviously trained in jiu-jitsu, I could tell, and a couple of other things. And he was like ready for a fight because he just expected me to freak out and fucking go for him. And I was like, what the fuck is this? You know, I just came here to see my kid. Now you're trying to like limit. I'm not signing any papers. Stick your papers up your ass. And she was like, oh, but you have to sign them. I said, no, I don't. They're all in Portuguese. I don't fucking read it. Oh, but I speak English. I don't give a shit who you are. I don't know you from a bar of soap. I'm not signing a fucking thing. Now get out of my way unless you're going to do something. I'm going to get off the plane. And this guy, at first, he came there like, you know, I could see he was like all pumped, ready. And like his arms were like double mine and that. But the thing is, I looked at him and I thought, you know, nothing was going to happen because I wasn't going to react in an idiotic way or anything. But the thing is, I looked at him and I thought, if I had to fight this guy, I'm not going to, you know, if I had to, I just looked at him like, I just like scanned him like, bzz, bzz. Like, yeah, if I have to fight this guy, I'm not going to hold fucking anything back. I'm just going to go flat out. But the feeling I had about it was like, even if he starts first, I am absolutely not worried. And the reason I wasn't worried is because I knew if I have to go with this guy, I am not holding anything back. He's going to die. And if he doesn't die, I got to die. One of us is going to be fucking dead because I am not stopping. You know, if this guy kicks off, I'm not giving him the benefit of the doubt. I'm not going to try and control. I'm just going to do whatever I need to do to fucking take him out. It's going to be a very, very short fight. And the funny thing is that, you know, he was obviously trained to a high level. And after about the first 30 seconds, when he realized what actually was going on, he was like, and I know why, because they pumped him up. They told him all sorts of shit. They told him I was going to freak out, that I'm a deadly martial artist, that I can kill 10 men with one finger, or whatever the fuck they told him. And then after about a minute, even though he didn't speak any English, because I looked at him and I was like, yeah, I know what the fuck you're here to do. And then I just kind of ignored him because it's like he's irrelevant. And the only time I looked back at him was like, well, unless you're going to arrest me or do something, I'll get the fuck out of my way because I'm going off the plane. And he was just like, by then he looked at me and he was like, he actually felt sorry for me. I could see that in his eye. We didn't speak. He didn't say a word to me. But he was sort of like, fuck. This is just bullshit. I just came here that they fucking lied to me. And I'm like, yeah. And I just nodded at him like, you get it now. It's like, so it was actually a guy I probably would have got on with, but he was definitely hardcore. You know, there's not a lot of people that I would look at and sort of think, the Russian guy when I was working as a bodyguard, the Russian guys I trained with, and this guy. So Brazil has got some decent guys. I'm sure there's probably some decent guys in the States or whatever, but I've never come across them. And all the people, special forces that I come across from the UK and from America and Australia were fucking run of the mill. They were pretty pathetic, really. I'm sure there's some good ones, but I just didn't see any of them. Woolly Ram, local news has stopped pushing the COVID narrative, probably relaxing the fear pump before a winter wave or variant. Yeah. Greeny Houdini says, I'll be going to Aruba this new year. Have you ever been to Aruba? No, I have not. weirdly enough, have some iguana soup. Well, I've eaten crocodile, close enough. No, Aruba is one of the places I would have liked to go, but yeah, with all the shit that's happening now and the kids and all that, I don't know that I'll ever see it, but who knows. And my shield says, how do we establish a new nobility that is not crypto-Jewish? You get rid of all the crypto-Jews. And make sure that only proper Catholics are people you hang out with. Uliram, move all Jews to Israel, no exceptions. Send in the missionaries and close the gates. 4 generations should do it. Amanda Jones says, no pussy is golden. Yep, indeed. Or like my brother put it to me once. Oh, I can't remember what it was long ago. It was on a phone call. And, you know, we were like, I was just sharing with him that the vicissitudes of my life, or like some random chick, I can't even remember who it was, that I was like, yeah, and then yeah, she said this, and you know, she was trying to use sex as a weapon, and my brother just burst out laughing and goes, why? Does her pussy have the key to a spaceship in it? Because I don't think anything else will make you act different. You're like, yeah, no key for no spaceship. I know, because I checked. Really wasn't in there. But yeah. That was a meme that I saw ages ago. It's like some hot woman half dressed, and then underneath in really tiny writing, just remember, no matter how hot she looks, someone somewhere has had enough of her shit. Yeah. Holy Ram says, just look at the story of Patriarch Jacob to see what having 4 wives is like. I don't even want to read it, dude. I get anxiety just thinking about it. You know, that's like, 1 wife is plenty. And if you get one that, you know, that you get along with, that's good, that's it. Live your life, and that's how it should be. Can you give a comment on Filipinos? Yeah, that they're easy to fuck. You know, I had one video banned because of talking about the nations. So, no, but Filipinos are all right, man. They're, you know, completely sort of unreliable, but you're friendly enough, and they're women/men, whatever, toy boy. You know, I don't know. I've got some Filipino friends, actually. A very good friend of mine is a Filipino, but don't think I've ever indulged. But yeah, they're, you know, they're all right. I don't have anything against Filipinos. They're fine. Amanda says, I enjoy celibacy until I get married. I feel more productive being celibate and confident. Okay, good for you. Green Udini, Canadian military are like, hand over your weapon, eh? I was going to say something about Canada, but I got it right. Yeah, I put my map up finally. I still have to put all the little pins back in, because I had like a pin, like a silver pin for me, a rose gold pin for my wife, and then like a gold one for like what we've both been together. And we've got a few more places to add now, so. Amanda says, until some man can grow some balls, actually love me unconditionally and bring to God the altar, sex is for married privilege. Well, love you unconditionally is a pipe dream, my girl. You gotta bring something to the table too. No one really loves anybody unconditionally aside from God. And there's not a lot of humans that can do that. In fact, I'm not aware of any. You ever watched Africa Dio documentary? No, I have not. Sounds interesting though. Amanda says, just like doing your boyfriend's laundry and dinner is a privilege, you have to wait for marriage for that. Having children is very stressful and taxing on a woman. Having a woman is very taxing on a man. You know, it's your lot in life. Just do it. Most overrated country, undoubtedly and without any doubt at all, America. And following closely on its heels for a second place, Australia. You quite frankly couldn't pay me money to live in America, and you certainly couldn't pay me a lot of gold and all the bullets and ammo that I want and all the guns that I want. I might live in America if I own like about 1,000 hectares somewhere in the Appalachians in total redneck country, or maybe an Indian reservation, maybe. But Australia, you couldn't get me for any reason on the planet. I'm not waiting for marriage to get laid. See, I knew you're a woman after my own heart. But look, that's not the Catholic thing, right? But yeah, I couldn't do it. I had a really interesting conversation, actually. I'll tell you about this. So, when I went to Venice to whatever, I was in Venice for a couple of days, and I've got a really good friend there who's a really good guy. He's always come through for me, very reliable, super, just a decent human being. And he is completely gay, full on gay. But we're friends. We talked about stuff and whatever. And like we went for dinner and stuff. And like when I was living in Venice, I went out for dinner with him like quite a few times, and quite a few times in the same place as well. Because once I find a place I like, I tend to like stick with it. And I'm sure people thought like maybe we were a couple or something. And like he even mentioned that. He said, you realize that like, I said, dude, you're my friend. I don't give a fuck what people think. They can think what they want. I don't give a shit. And he's a good guy. And we talked about it. And I was like, look, but I'm he knows I'm a hardcore Catholic, and I know he's gay. And it's like so how, what's it like? I mean, and he goes, but dude, fuck, if I have to go to hell for that, because I'm not doing anything wrong. And look, fucking pedophiles, they should all be burnt at the stake. And I'm like, yeah, they should. And like, anyone that touches kids like that or anything like that they should fucking die. But I've just never been attracted to women. I don't fucking know what to tell you, man. My life would be a lot easier if I was, but I'm not. And I was like, look, I told him, look, I get it. The whole point of the Catholic Church is that, well, that's a sin and you shouldn't do it. But I kind of get it. I mean, like, if I wasn't married, if I didn't find my wife or whatever, and the Catholic Church says, oh, well, I shouldn't have sex unless I'm married. Oh, fuck that. If you're telling me that I got to go to hell, if I touch pussy, I'm going to go to hell, well, I guess I'm going to hell. And he looked at me and he goes, so you do get it? I'm like, yeah, of course I get it. I don't know why that's your cross to bear or whatever. Maybe work on it, like think about it. And I even brought up the whole Milo thing, and I was like, well, I don't know. The guy says he's no longer a fag, but I don't know, man. So we just talked about it. But yeah, I'm not saying it's the right thing. I know what the Catholic Church says and all that, but I don't think I'd be able, I don't know, God forbid, but say my wife dies tomorrow or something, plus with the 4 kids, I don't think I'll have a lot of time, and whatever, after a year or 2, whatever, I don't know what, some hunting, unless shit changes, because I don't know, I mean, I never thought I'd be a Catholic, who knows, maybe I'd become a really devout Catholic and I wouldn't, but if my wife passed away and some other hottie came along, I probably wouldn't wait for marriage. Henry, hello Henry. This is a good dude, old Henry. Oh wait, I've missed some stuff here. That's why you need to grow in romance and learn how to love. I have a 19-year-old. I'm done with procreating. You're pretty young. Oh, okay, you must have had it rough. Okay, I kind of get where Greenie's coming from. I've known women like her. Just like you study math and weapons and catechism, learn how to love properly. Oh, Amanda, I don't think you should dispense any advice on stuff you don't know anything about. Most underrated country. Oh, that's a tough one. Most underrated country could be San Marino, which is a country I was interested in from a young age, but also quite a lot of African countries, because you can more or less do what you want in Africa if you kind of know how to move. Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan is an awesome country, actually. I could probably live in Kazakhstan and get by pretty well. I really enjoyed Kazakhstan, actually, yeah. So, of the countries that I've been in, Brazil is a huge country, and I could live there quite comfortably as well. But kind of like Kazakhstan more, actually. The only thing about Kazakhstan is it gets really fucking cold, like minus 40 degrees centigrade cold. And I really don't like the cold. But, but in summer it's pretty warm. The women are beautiful and available. So, yeah, I think Kazakhstan probably. Of the places I've been, yeah, I would say Kazakhstan. That's a good question. Henry Martin says America seems to get better the less Americans there are per hectare. Well, the same is true of France. Man, this is sex outside of marriage is a mortal sin worthy of eternal fire. Only God knows. Everyone is on their own path. Yep. Do you know of a SEDE, Unseen says, do you know of a SEDE seminary in southern France? I don't, but if you go to canon188.com, there's a list there of SEDE churches around the world. So you can pick up the phone and call the nearest one to you in France, if that's where you are, and find out. And Greenie says, I don't believe I have to adhere to any religion to believe in the Creator. Yeah, I used to think that too. And, like I said, everyone's on their own road. Amanda says, when I commit sins like that, I get anxiety because I have a healthy fear of God. God won't listen to your prayers unless you're pure of heart. Oh, I don't think that's true at all. Because God has certainly answered my prayers, and I know I'm not pure of heart. There is a one true Holy Apostolic Church founded on Jesus Christ. Yes, there is. I had my child at 18. Yeah, I figured, because if I remember right, you said you were in your late 30s. So, yeah, that means you were 17 when you were doing some naughty stuff. And that's a heavy load. I also assume you're not with the kid's father. Like I said, unfortunately, I know a little bit about that stuff. So, LS16, it's one thing to sin. It's another to pretend that a sin isn't a sin. Exactly. I'm not pretending that. I'm not saying it's good or right. I'm just saying, dude, I know my weaknesses, Well, some guy, I can't remember the context, but there was, I don't know, it was before COVID, I think. But I was arguing with some guy about, like, what the hell, dude, why are you so weak? You don't have to, like, just give up on shit like that. And this other guy said, look, man, everybody has their weakness. I said, yeah, I know everybody has their weakness, but fuck, man, you can prevent that shit. You can see that coming, And he goes, yeah, you can see it coming. I can see it coming. But this guy, he can't see it. I was like, come on, we're telling him how to see it coming. Why can't he see it coming? And he goes, look, it's like you, right? If somebody was going to take you out and they kind of knew how you worked, they wouldn't come at you with, like, guys with guns and fighting. And they would just send a hot, slightly mochaccino colored chick to come up that's really friendly. That would fuck you up. And I was like, I was still single at the time, so I was like, okay, I get your point, but, know yourself. Delphi. Oh, the little dude might be. Doesn't God listen to the prayers of both the sinful and the sinless? Thinking that he only listens to the righteous reeks of Calvinist heresy. It does indeed, Merg, you're quite right. I've met God and he wasn't Jesus. Just saying, God has no race, sex, nor religion. I don't know, Greenie. We all had our little road to Damascus moment. My road to Damascus moment led me to Catholicism. The God I saw also wasn't Jesus, but I think it was God and it was love. So Merg says, "Da fuck, Greenie." TVACL says, "Spicy." Bear with me 1 second. My little Viking dude is not happy, so I'm gonna go check on that. Alright, you're gonna have to bear with me a couple of secs. Alright, I'm just gonna go make him a little bit of warm milk and I'll be back. Talk amongst yourselves. we go. Little man just... Little dude was hungry. Or thirsty. Oh. Woolly Ram says, oh, just catch up with... Oh, you guys have been talking amongst yourself. Just quickly reading the chat. Women can be attractive but rarely interesting. It's irritating, but my non-Catholic friends just can't grasp the distinction. Yeah. That's why I had a little bit of a revolving door. The path to God is long and narrow, but not every long and narrow path is the path to God. Very good, De Winter. Henry Martin, yeah, God will listen, as none of us are pure, indeed. And Woolly Ram says, woe unto him that called darkness light and evil good, indeed. And Greeny Houdini said, in waiting for a certain percent to wake up, we need so many around the globe to awaken, so change for the better can take place. I'm not waiting. Fuck 'em. And Henry says, exactly, try to go a day without sinning in any way, even in a minor way. Not possible. But not a reason to quit trying. Exactly. Even the saints recognize that they are wretched. Actually, the more saintly they were, the more they described themselves as a rotten piece of rat crap in a sewer. Indeed, Henry, you know what I mean when I say know yourself. Greeny says, I was cursing God, waving my Bible in the air one day, demanding God to give me a sign if there's any truth to it. And it stopped on Ezekiel and said, and through the midst was the color of amber. Okay. But pagans who pray to God is not the same. Speaking of weakness, it's baseline Catholic spiritual progression to overcome your primary flaw. Yeah, I know. That's why I'm married. My name, Amber, right there. Oh, is your name Amber? Huh. There's gotta be some truth. Oh, the Bible is uncannily true. It is. TVCL says the truth is Catholicism, but it's just horrendously bastardized in public consciousness. It is. It actually has been. That's a very, very good point. Allah is the common Arabic word for God. No, it's not. It's another God. Is your background Protestant, Greeny? Like I said, God knows the heart. Merck says, Amandi, many a conversion was the result of non-believers praying. Ask John C. Wright. Indeed. Or me. And Greeny says they have interesting prayer brain experiments. Oh, who are you talking about now, Greeny? I'm a bit confused. Okay. Mandy keeps spamming the channel. TVCL says, yeah, so a sinner can pray. They just can't pray in favor of their sins. Yeah, exactly. Basing your theology on where a book landed open is foolish. Yeah, I would kind of agree with Woolly Ram on that. But it's happened to me too, so who knows? The saints through holy revelation has made this extremely clear, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Backstabber says, well, Woolly, you should meet my mother. She opens the Bible randomly and believes she's been sent messages by God that way. She also dreams a lot and takes all of them as a vision. Yeah. AJ says, my goodness, I'm very late. Or very early, depending on what time it is where you are. And Wooly says, speaking of the saints, Halloween is All Saints Eve. Yeah, it is. My condolences, backstabber. Have you ever doubted your faith? Winter, I didn't really have faith in God as such until I had that road to Damascus moment. I never doubted myself, really. The fact that even as a briefly an atheist, I thought, well, fuck it, if there's nothing better than this, then I'm gonna be better than this. Even if nobody even says thank you, it doesn't matter, fuck them. I'm just gonna choose to live a way that is something I think is worthwhile or better, and I don't really give a shit what anybody else thinks about it. And then I sort of became Zen agnostic, and then it was just, honor, sort of my word and my concept of ethics, which is what I think John C. Wright and others have called as the noble pagan. The guy who doesn't believe in the Christian God, but he is somebody who you can rely on, who's got a word, and and so. But after I had that moment, road to Damascus moment, I wouldn't say that I had. I don't know if it's faith. I something happened that I was like, fuck, it's real. So it wasn't like I had to force myself to believe anything. It was like, I know this is real now. And then it was like, okay, if that's real, then a whole bunch of other things have to be real too. And I think of it as, I described it often as having a metal spike in a cliff face, granite cliff face, and I'm just hanging on for dear life by one hand while a tornado's trying to blow me off it. And it was like, I don't know anything else. All I know is God exists and is love. That was pretty much it. And then slowly I started to study and understand more. And it's like, okay, I got another spike in. And then like slowly I climbed over the edge, and then I pitched a little tent, and so no, I was definitely tested. There were definitely times I was like, I don't fucking understand why I'm going through this. Even after I was baptized, there's a pretty hectic period of time that was like, what the fuck, dude? But I didn't doubt God or the existence of God or Jesus Christ or Catholicism. No, I can't say that that's ever happened. And I hope it never does. TV Cell says, maybe God has led you here by whatever means too. Now take the sign and become a Sede. There you go. AJ says, I'm officially a Sede. It took a while. But after seeing Bergoglio with Nancy Pelosi, I've also finally finished your book on reclaiming the Catholic Church. Yeah, sometimes you just need raw evil to prove that it exists for you to become a proper Catholic. Noticing evil in the world was a pretty big part of me realizing that Catholicism is correct. And congratulations to AJ for being a full-on Sede now. And he thanks everybody. Amanda says, you guys complain about goals were not interesting and then you shut us down. No, Amanda, you're not particularly interesting. Get the message? You're just spamming on about the same thing. So you just got to try and understand what interesting is. Got a season change cold, Woolly Ram, coughing up phlegm that tastes like cigarette ash. Never ever take up smoking. Oh yeah, that shit stays in your lung for years. I've never smoked, but I've had girlfriends that smoked and then stopped smoking when they were with me, and years later they still coughed up like stuff that tasted like blech. Nancy didn't catch fire when she shook Bergoglio's hand. That's more proof he's not the Pope. Very good, chat. That is awesome. Oh, so we've been going over 2 hours now. Well, I'm very pleased that my hiatus didn't seem to affect any of you negatively, so that's good. But yeah, I knew, actually, well, two, because Ilya was here as well, and I know he was baptized relatively recently. AJ, I guess, if he's not baptized, he will be soon. And most of you are, so that's good. We're growing in numbers. But yeah, I've had a pretty longish day, actually. Wooly says, do you think people like Pelosi and Clinton are still human? It depends how you define it, but as far as I'm concerned, they're a bag of snakes, and they should and do belong in hell, and I hope they get there soon. So, oh, good God. And Chad, definitely a real Pope would cut her head off within his presence. I don't know, though. I mean, if you cut Nancy Pelosi's head off, surely two would just pop back up. And Backstabber says, Amandi, you're a setter for what it's worth. Very interesting. Yeah, very good. Yeah. Okay, well. You guys still haven't told me all your guns, but okay, whatever. There was something else I wanted to talk about, but we've been going for 2 hours. I probably forgot what it was. It'll come back to me, and I'll be doing more streams. Oh, the other thing was that there's a new series on the Digital Kurganet, which is on the Trivium, which is a very interesting series. It's not done by me, so you guys. Alice16 says Pelosi is almost certainly 70% vodka. I think, isn't it like the human body is 80% water, so probably 80%, right? And Wooly says, drown her in a vat of holy water. She's a witch, so she maybe should just float. Very good. Yeah. I will be baptized soon. I come from the Novus Ordo. I'm just far away from any real priests. Yeah, everybody is, mate. You know, it's difficult sometimes, but you will be. It's good. It's very good. And I know that AJ, you're not too far from the high priestess of the Kurgan cult. And I believe you still have a book to get to her, which I don't remember. I think I sent you where you need to post it to. But yeah. So you see there's like little steady groups popping up all over the place. And keep them growing, boys and girls. All right. Well, Amandi, put a sock in it. All right? You're just spamming the channel with your perception of things. And it's not an insult and it's not baseless. You really are not that interesting, and certainly not so interesting as to comment about a third of the chat. You've said what you needed to say. Fine, we've heard it. Now, if you got something interesting, add to it. And the fact that you support my Digital Kurganet monthly, you know, doesn't mean that you get to spam the chat and get to have your ass kissed. It's not going to get kissed here. Nobody gets their ass kissed by me. Doesn't matter who you are. And if you're spamming and just saying the same thing on and on and on, you're going to get told. Now, either take it as somebody who can deal with facts would, or don't. It doesn't matter to me. Thanks again for the stream then, Kurgan. Nice talking again to you guys. Yes, it is Backstabber. It's been good. And I'm glad so many of you are still about. It's pretty cool. Okay, the next one hopefully will be a bit more focused. And again, I've got a million things to do, but I'm quite happy with the digital Kurganet actually. The Trivium series that that's very good. The Trivium series is actually very good. The Trivium is a method of teaching. It's a system of education, and I think Tony does a pretty good job of explaining it. So it's one of those things that has got lost. So it's like an ancient sort of, not ancient, but you know, it's a methodology of logic and teaching that is extremely useful, and it's applicable to anything that we don't do anymore, and we should. So yeah, LS16 says the man spent an entire video making valid insults at every country on Earth. Of course, the insults are included. Exactly. If you're too fragile for this channel, well, you shouldn't be here. You know what I'm like by now. If you don't, well, you got a rude awakening. All right, well, thank you all for being here. God bless every sinful one of you and all the sinless ones too, if there are any. And keep well. I'll be regularly streaming again until whatever next adverse thing comes my way, and then we'll find a way around it, as we always do. God keep every one of you. Good night.